Hello, this is your host, Austin Hopkins, and welcome to the Introvert Leader Podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Happy to have you guys here today. We are going to have kind of a fun episode. Today's going to be about interior design, something I'm actually really super passionate about, believe it or not, kind of a hobby of mine. So it's a fun episode. If you're not into interior design, if you don't really care about that, how the inside of your home looks, I totally get it. No need to listen to this one. Feel free to skip. But if you want to learn where I like to shop, if you want to learn how to find some hidden gems, how to make sure that you really create an oasis, a home that you want to spend time in, then I'm positive I'm going to give you some value. But before that, I want to hop into a couple of quick things that I've been into recently. Okay, so quick update, music-wise, I've been into artist Lil Uzi Vert. I'm sure you've heard of him. Fantastic rapper, been around probably since the mid-2010s. My favorite song of his is Patience, and it's off of his 2023 album called Pink Tape. I listen to that thing all the time. It's got Don Toliver on that song as well, another one of my favorites. Highly recommend. If you don't check out Lil Uzi Vert, you're going to be missing out. TV movies. I recently watched one of my favorite all-time movies, Shaun of the Dead. Okay, came out early 2000s. It's an action hilarious comedy kind of about a zombie apocalypse. It's dumb. It's cute. It's got acting. It's got a fun story. It's hilarious. I think you'd like it. If you haven't seen that one, you definitely need to check it out. I know you're going to enjoy this movie. It is literally hilarious, and I've watched it so many times. Okay, moving on, wrapping it up. Recommendations for YouTube. You got to check out a guy called Nick Lewis. He is an interior designer. He's sassy. He's simple. He comes up with stuff that's affordable and high end. He has a simple style, which I really like. Modern, organic is kind of his vibe. And I really resonate with his content. So I really love how he does his YouTube channel. And I also think he puts out really good advice for interior design, where to buy stuff, the mistakes to avoid, all that kind of jazz. And so with that being said, I want to jump into today's episode. Today, it is nothing to do with career. It's nothing to do with leadership. It's all about interior design. So I got to tell you, I'm obsessed with it. Ever since I was 18 years old, I became obsessed with interior design, how the inside of your home looks and feels. And I remember turning 18, I was making $13 an hour as a teller. I had no money, but I got my first apartment and I was so excited to design this thing. So I had an accent wall. My mom took me out shopping. We bought all this cool little embellishments and these cute accents and all this amazing stuff to really make this cheap, $800 apartment feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more special. And so since then, I've been obsessed with it. So, that what that means to be obsessed means I watch content about interior design. I love to shop for anything with my wife. I love to talk about design trends with my wife. We love to watch design shows. We like to talk about interior design with our friends. I mean, this is just something we enjoy. So that being said, because it's something I enjoy, I thought, why not talk about it on the podcast and maybe share some of the stuff that I've learned, some of the stuff that I enjoy. Maybe you'll resonate with that. So a couple things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some mistakes to avoid. We're going to be talking about how to define your personal style, some of my favorite best places to shop for furniture and decor. I'm also going to give you a couple of resources, and then we'll also talk a little bit about taking risks. So first thing, here's some of the mistakes that I think you should 100% avoid is don't buy cheap furniture. Take it from a guy who spent the first, 5 years of his adult life buying the cheapest furniture. And I don't want to call out any specific places, but there's a place that rhymes with Schmeikia that you probably know. And, you can sometimes find some good stuff there, but a lot of it is going to be MDF, which is manufactured wood. It's not solid wood. It's not going to be good quality. It's going to go out of style. It's going to break. So for me, I probably wouldn't waste my money on cheap furniture. Instead, I would save up and I would buy something a little bit more fancy, a little bit more high quality, something with solid wood, something that's going to stay around for a while. Because you don't really necessarily want to have to keep buying furniture, right? If you can just buy good furniture, it can last you for a long, long time, believe it or not. Next thing that I think is a big mistake is keeping it too bare. So this is something that I've done in the past where I've almost kept it really just basic. So you just have the furniture in your rooms, but you don't have any accessories, right? You don't have any rugs. You don't have any artwork on the wall. You don't have any plants. You don't have any stuff on the table for, display, like coffee table books and, little figurines and things like that. Those kind of things really class up a space and bring it all together. So for me, in the past, we've kept it too simple, too minimalist, and now we're kind of starting to bring a little bit more flair back into our design, which has been fun. Another big mistake to avoid is spending money in the wrong place. I've seen people, they will spend so much money on a tiny little decorative item, but then they won't spend money on the big pieces. Like they'll avoid buying like a $300 or $400 rug because they don't have the money. Or they won't buy a nice piece of furniture and they'll get a real small couch that's not good quality because they don't have any money left in their budget. So for me, I always thought spending money in the right place made all the difference. So for me, that's the big items, the items that are going to last for a long time, that are going to anchor the room. That's where I put my money. I just mentioned a mistake a second ago of not buying like rugs. And I think, believe it or not, rugs are like a low-key, undercover kind of solid way to differentiate your space. Rugs are amazing, right? For a couple of reasons. One, they define whatever space. So if you want to define a living room, you put a rug there. You want to define your bedroom, your bed in your bedroom, put a rug. Even if you have carpet, it can really class it up having a rug. So like we've been on a rug buying spree, and my go-to favorite place to buy rugs is Ruggable. They are washable. So if you have kids, if you have dogs, you can wash the rugs in the washer, dry them in the dryer. They come out looking great. And they're not super, super expensive, but we're talking, if you're looking for an 8x10 rug, we're still talking a few $100s. So they're not cheap, but they're also not, the most expensive custom Persian rugs you could buy. Another mistake that I would probably avoid is going super trendy or going way too bold. So at the end of the day, you got to live in this space, right? Your home is somewhere where you sleep in. And if you're like me, an introvert, you actually spend a lot of additional time at your house as opposed to going out. And so for me, I've made the mistake of going too trendy or too bold to where you walk into a room and gosh, your eyes hurt because you're basically bombarded by some huge painting that's red and intense, or maybe it's you're buying the most trendy mid-century modern desk or table, and then in a year that goes out of style and you're like, what did I do? So for me, I like simple. I like not going super trendy and getting just classic stuff that's going to look good 5 years from now or maybe 50 years from now, right? So those are my big mistakes. I want to transition and talk a little bit about defining your personal style. For me, I think this is where it all starts. To begin with, when you're designing your home, when you're thinking about what you want it to look and feel like, you have to have a personal style. So for me, my personal style and my wife's style is a couple of different words. One, it's modern, right? That's super, super important to us. Having it look clean. Textures. We like a lot of textures in there, whether that's blankets or, stuff on the wall or rugs. We like a lot of different textures. We love plants. So you're going to see plants in every single room in my house. I've talked about that before. We're very minimalist. So less is more as far as we're concerned. And ultimately, we're kind of going for that high-end hotel vibe. So a Four Seasons or some sort of luxury boutique hotel. That's kind of the vibe we're going for. So when you walk in, we think about kind of what you want to look at and what you want to feel like and what are the themes going to be and what's it going to smell like. And, those are the kind of things you got to really think about. So for me, how I would start doing that is, what do you enjoy? What are the things you enjoy? Is there a specific type of hobby you're into, or artwork style, or design style in general? And then once you kind of figure that out, you can start to go and figure out, well, what do you want to feel when you walk in your home? When you go into your bathroom, is there a certain feeling you want to have? When you go to your backyard, do you want to feel like it's an oasis? Do you want to feel like it's kind of more of a party vibe with backyard games? Do you want your living room to feel more like a library, or do you want it to feel more like a cocktail lounge? Start to think about like, what do you enjoy? What do you want to feel? And then kind of go from there. Think about what are your themes going to be, your smells, your vibes, and overall kind of what you want people to experience when they walk in your space, including yourself. Okay, so you've defined your personal style. I want to give you my go-to places to shop for furniture and decor. And I'm going to give you in two different sections. One is going to be kind of mid to higher end spots, and then the other one's going to be lower end to mid-end, mid-tier, I should say. And for me, what I'll start by saying is, don't worry about having the biggest budget of all time. You can still absolutely make your house look absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, inviting, all this stuff you want to achieve with not a ton of money, but it's going to take you to be creative. So what I want to first do is give you 4 tips when it comes to buying furniture and decor. Then I'm going to give you my list for the higher end to mid and lower to mid as well. So here are my 4 big tips when it comes to shopping, purchasing furniture and decor. Number 1, look for local independent spots for some hidden gems. One of my favorite pieces of furniture we ever bought was this beautiful leather chair Looks like it's maybe from the 50s or 60s, that kind of style. And it's a beautiful camel color. We got it from this local furniture shop in Seattle called Casala. It was on sale. We got it for like $300. It was full grain leather, really, really nice. And we would have never been able to afford or find something like that at a, major retailer, but because this was a local spot, they were having a sale. So that was one of our favorite spots and one of our favorite purchases. So tip number one, look for local independent spots for hidden gems. That's where you can find some really, really good furniture or decor at good prices and things you're not going to see at the main store, which at the end of the day is kind of what you're going for. You want to have a unique, original experience in your own home. You don't want to make your home look like every other home, right? Another big tip from me would be don't buy too much matching furniture. Mistake I've made in the past. I wanted everything to match. I wanted the couch to match the chair. I wanted my nightstands to match my dressers and the bed, and it all was a big set. And it doesn't look good, to be honest with you. In my opinion, if everything's matchy-matchy, it just feels like you're at, an IKEA, or that you're looking at, a showroom, and it looks kind of lifeless, and it doesn't necessarily feel like it has much of a personality. And it becomes too much when everything's the same color wood, the same design. So for me, I don't like buying a lot of matching furniture. I like getting different pieces that then complement each other really well. So kind of an eclectic organization style, right? So number 3, start with a piece of decor or furniture in each room that you really, really like. That's going to anchor it, and then expand from there. So I usually will start with like a chair or a couch or a mirror or a rug. And then from there, I start to think, well, what will look good with that piece? And so start with one thing. If you're kind of struggling on where to start, that will really help. Pick one piece you're really liking. So for example, in our new house, we have like kind of a foyer and a living room. In our foyer, we wanted to go with really light, modern, simple textures. And so it's going to be a lot lighter than our living room, which we're kind of going more for kind of that study vibe, that more, I would say more masculine library vibe is what we're going for. And that's another thing. You can have different vibes within your own home, and not everything has to look the same. Number 4, final tip, avoid cheap furniture and look for quality materials like solid wood and metal. I mentioned that earlier. Spend your money on good furniture. It'll pay off in the long run. Just like my dad used to say with shoes, if you buy expensive quality shoes, they're going to last for years and years and years, and you're not going to have to buy new shoes as often. Same thing with furniture. If you get solid pieces that look timeless, that are going to last and, stand the test of time, then you're not going to have to buy new furniture, and it's going to save you money in the long run. All right, without further ado, here are my top choices for mid to higher end furniture. Now, this is in my budget. I don't know if you're super wealthy, maybe your definition of higher end is different. And if you're not as well off, maybe your definition is different. But for me, here's mid to high end. Article, fantastic company based in Canada, ships throughout the US and Canada. And I think they ship internationally as well, but solid furniture. It's usually very modern and simple, but they also have lots of mid-century modern vibes as well. Crate and Barrel, I'm sure you've heard of it. Standard, modern, kind of run-of-the-mill, upscale kind of design style. We get a lot of our big pieces of furniture from Crate and Barrel. West Elm is the next one, very similar. So Crate and Barrel, West Elm, and then CB2. Those are all the kind of the main go-to ones we'll buy a lot of our furniture at. CB2 is the Crate and Barrel modern offshoot. So CB2 is owned by Crate and Barrel, another great company I think you're going to like. And then the last one we really like is called All Modern. So it's also owned by Wayfair, I believe, but All Modern has literally thousands of any kind of product you can imagine. They have a pretty good website, and we bought a lot of stuff from there. So those are our go-to: Article, Crate and Barrel, West Elm, CB2, All Modern. Now, for maybe more lower end to mid end, here are the places that we look at. Number 1, Target. Believe it or not, you can find some good deals at Target. You can find some stuff that kind of looks good, that looks a little upscale, especially the Magnolia brand I really like from Target. Walmart, believe it or not, you can get some pieces here and there. We actually literally just bought this chair from Walmart. We could not believe the deal it was. It was like $150, solid wood, matched our decor perfectly. And I thought to myself, wow, I would have never thought Walmart could actually have decent furniture. Believe it or not, you can find some pieces at Walmart. Obviously, Amazon, a lot of people do that. Tribe signs. This is a go-to one for us for shelving, for bookshelves, for closets, for things like that can hold decor, that can look good in your home. Tribe Signs is a really, really good brand. Usually solid metal, good construction, good customer service. And then, another one for an in-person shopping experience is called At Home. I had never heard of this place, but when we moved to Arizona, we discovered it recently and just fell in love with this place. It's super inexpensive. I put it as like an elevated IKEA, and we found actually some really good stuff and a lot of small decoration stuff. We actually found a stuff for our house that's been awesome. For specifically, found a really, really good deal on a huge 8x10 rug. So that was awesome. Found some really great mirrors, little vanities, things like that. So just kind of that little embellishment stuff that you'd want at home could be really a good place as well. So those are my go-to places. Now, when I'm getting my inspiration, there's a couple of things I do to get inspiration. Number one is I go to YouTube. So that's a big one. If you're looking for inspiration of what kind of your style is, YouTube can be great. Pinterest can be great. A website called Uncrate is a really fun one for me. It's kind of more of a masculine one that shows a lot of style. Cool Material is another place that I really, really enjoy, and they have a really great modern kind of more masculine style. GQ is another place I get inspiration. Looking at videos of Architectural Digest where they do tours of, famous people's homes. I get some inspiration from there. So really just anywhere you look around, if something looks cool to you, take a picture, jot it down, save that away, log it away so that when you're, defining your style later, you're going to have some inspiration to draw upon, right? Last thing I want to say to you, I want to wrap up by talking about taking risks. Just like taking risks in your career or in leadership, it's also really important to take some risks with your style, right? And so for me, over the years, we've decided to get out of our comfort zone with our style. So we'll buy maybe a color that we'd never get, of a couch, or maybe we'd buy artwork that's a little out there for us, but we think, this is feels really cool. Or, we would, for example, buy a rug for a room that we don't know if we necessarily needed it, but we thought, man, could this really pull the room together to have a rug? And so little things like that, taking those risks, it's funny. We get people that will come into our home quite often and compliment the design. And, obviously it's a great compliment, but for us, a lot of times it comes down to us just taking risks, and we're trying things that the average person maybe wouldn't try, but we think looks cool or feels cool, gives us that experience we're going for. And then it pays off because you get some cool compliments. And then as well, you feel proud of the kind of the design that you created, the experience that you created in your home. So do me a favor, challenge this week, do an audit of your home. See if it gives you the feeling you want. If you're walking into a room in your home and you're not feeling the way you want to feel, you're not feeling light or airy or uplifted or energized or whatever the word is that you're going for, whatever the adjective or the vibe you're going for, then I want you to take a couple of steps. Maybe you buy a couple pieces. Maybe you go buy some, secondhand stuff. Maybe you get some inspiration off YouTube, but I want you to do a little audit, see if you're getting the feeling you want in your home, because at the end of the day, it's where you spend a lot of your time and you want it to feel good, right? So thanks for listening to this episode. It was kind of a different one today. I don't know if you're going to enjoy it or not, but I hope at least you got a little bit of value when it comes to interior design. It's something that I'm passionate about. If you want to ask me questions, if you want to talk about that more, that you always can send me a message to the introvertleader@gmail.com. I'd love your questions. I want to say thank you so much for listening. Make it a great day. This has been the Introvert Leader Podcast. Subscribe for new episodes every other Wednesday.